Let me briefly introduce myself and we will begin. My name is Marshall. I'm from a small town called Valley Station, Kentucky. I was brought up in a poor environment. The first 4 years of my schooling, we did not have indoor plumbing. We had what was called an outhouse. So I wasn't brought up at Harvard Prep. The high school I went to came in next to last place in Kentucky in academic achievement. And Kentucky came in next to last in the United States. So this is kind of the bottom of the bottom. I was very fortunate. My mother spent years teaching me things, so I had a head start on the other kids. I went to a little engineering school, Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology, where I almost got thrown out 3 times. I got 5 Ds and barely graduated, but last year I went back and gave the commencement speech and got an honorary PhD. And what was the first thing I said? Let's hear it for the bottom of the class. Yay for them. I told all the parents, I said, your kid is not at the top of the class. Don't worry about it. There's still hope. There's still hope. After that, I got an MBA at Indiana University, then a PhD at UCLA. I was a college professor and dean when I was very young. Then for the next 47 years, I did 3 things. 1, I traveled all around the world speaking and teaching. So I've been to 102 countries, and I've been to India about 40 times. So I'm a very frequent visitor to India. So I love working here in India. My books are very popular here. My book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There, I just looked it up on Amazon. Today it was ranked number 2 best-selling management book in India. 17 years after it was published. So that has been just an amazing, amazing success. I've done 4 New York Times bestsellers, 8 bestsellers, and I've also written 47 books that were purchased only by my mother, my father, and my relatives. So I've written many books. Mostly people bought none of them, but a few of them 3 million people bought, so that was good. Then, anything else about me? My biggest claim to fame is being an executive coach. I've been the coach of wonderful people, president of the World Bank, head of the Mayo Clinic, 5 CEOs of the year in the United States. So I'm very, very lucky about being able to work with such great people. I've learned so much from these people I'm supposed to be coaching. Then, let's say anything else. I've been married 49 years, and we're just about to have our 50th wedding anniversary. But wait, before you applaud too much, my wife has said, I'm going to give you a performance appraisal on our anniversary. If you do not measure up, no more 50 years for you. So I've been married 50 years. My daughter Kelly is a professor at Vanderbilt. She has a PhD from Yale. And I have a couple of grandkids, and my son Brian's an entrepreneur. And I live in Nashville, Nashville, Tennessee. I'm now going to tell you something you can impress your children with. Are you ready? Living in Nashville, I have some very famous neighbors. One of my neighbors is Keith Urban, the famous country music star. That will not impress your kids. His wife is more impressive. Another one of my neighbors is Nicole Kidman, the famous actress. Now, can I trust you with confidential information? You promise not to share this. It's only a rumor. You see, Nicole Kidman, the famous actress, jogs by my house almost every day. There's a rumor that she's in love with me. Only a rumor, only a rumor. But that's not going to impress your kids. Who lives across the street? Who is the most famous singer in the world right now? And your kids probably love her. What is her name? Taylor Swift. Yeah, so you can tell your kids you met the guy that lives across the street from Taylor Swift. Now, anything else? I went to a program called Design the Life You Love. And the woman said, who are your heroes? My heroes are very kind and generous people who are great teachers. She said, you should be like these heroes. I decided to give everything away that I know to 15 people for free. And the only price is when they got old, they had to do the same thing. So I make a little video and put it on LinkedIn. I'm thinking 100 people would apply, and I'll adopt 15. I was wrong. 18,000 people applied to be adopted. So now, now I've adopted 400 people, and the program is called the 100 Coach Program. So I try to give everything away. And then finally, that's what I'm here for today, is to talk about my new computer bot, MarshallBot. So my new computer bot is, I've taught it everything I know. It's going to be available to everybody in the world. It's available now. Just go to MarshallGoldsmith.ai. My name, MarshallGoldsmith.ai. You can use it anytime, any place. It's all free. My goal was for it to answer questions as well as me. That goal is long since passed. It can answer questions far better than me. So it is mind-blowing how good it is. And it's available for everyone for free. So this is kind of a legacy project for me. I'm 75. So this is kind of an opportunity to try to give everything I know back to other people. Now, let's talk about today's session. The leader is coach, helping successful people become even better. That's my area of expertise. And I'm proud about one thing. Before I got into coaching, coaching was seen as something for losers. Fix the loser. My clients are not losers. My clients are winners. So my coaching is not fixed losing, it's helping winners. My clients are big winners. And so anyway, go to MarshallGoldsmith.ai, and if you want to send me an email, marshall@marshallgoldsmith.com. Today we're going to talk about something called Feed Forward, a very positive, upbeat way to help yourself and others get better. I'm going to talk about stakeholder-centered leadership development model, and finally something called daily questions, a great way to get better. The final thing I'm going to talk about today takes 5 minutes a day. Costs nothing, and will help you get better at almost anything. Some of you are skeptical now. 5 minutes a day, costs nothing, help me get better at almost anything. But that seems ridiculous, too good to be true. Half the people that start doing this quit within 2 weeks. And they do not quit because it does not work. They quit because it does work. Everything I'm going to teach you today is very easy to understand. Nothing I'm going to teach you today is easy to do. In life, understanding is only a small part of the challenge. A lot of life is not that hard to understand. It's hard to do. And if anyone says what I'm going to teach you today is easy, you proved one thing: you've never done this. You've never done this. My clients are wonderful people. They'll tell you this stuff is not easy. It's easy to understand, and it's hard to do. Now, first, learning from a great leader. For 47 years in my coaching, I didn't get paid if my clients didn't get better. Better was not judged by me or them, it was judged by everyone around them. Well, when you get paid for results, you learn something called humility. The client I coached, that I spent the most amount of time with, did not improve at all, and I did not get paid. The client I coached I spent the least amount of time with improved more than anyone I coached. Hundreds of people got better, and I did get paid. I made a chart. For those of you with a background in engineering, I made a chart. On one dimension was called time spent with executive coach Marshall Goldsmith. The other dimension was called improvement. There was a clear negative relationship between spending time with me and getting better. I thought, this is troubling. I go talk to my client who improved the most, who I spent the least amount of time coaching. His name is Alan Mulally, one of the great leaders of the past century. Alan went to Ford, and the stock was valued at $1.01. He became the CEO. He was there 8 years. When he left, the stock was $18.40. He was CEO of the Year, Fortune magazine #3 great leader in the world, behind the Pope and Angela Merkel only. And he had a 97% approval rating as a CEO from every employee in a union company. This is unheard of. The United Auto Workers, 97% approval for a CEO. That does not happen. An amazing human being. We're writing a book together now. I talked to my friend Alan. I said, Alan, of all the people that I've coached, I spent the least amount of time coaching you. You were great to start with, and you improved the most. I showed Alan my chart. I said, Alan, the way this chart looks, had you never met me, you would have been even better. I asked my friend Alan, what should I learn about coaching from you? He taught me 2 lessons that changed my life as a coach. Lesson number 1, he said, Marshall, you have one challenge as a coach, customer selection. If you work with great, dedicated, hardworking people, your coaching process will always work. You work with people that don't care, your coaching process will never work. He said 2, never make the coaching process about yourself and your own ego and how smart you think you are. Make it about the great people that you coach and how proud you are of them. Well, these lessons changed my life. I've been ranked #1 executive coach in the world for years. Nobody knows if I'm a good coach. Compared to what? I don't know I'm a good coach. I didn't watch all these people coach people. I may or may not be a very good coach. I can guarantee you one thing. I have the best customers in the world. I have the best customers. And you work with great, dedicated, hardworking people, guess what? You're going to look like a good coach. You work with the wrong people, nobody's going to look like a good coach. Now, most of us never deeply understand these concepts. I have a question for you. Is this a group of high character, ethics, and integrity? Yes or no? You say yes. I'm going to test that right now. Are we ready? I'm going to ask all of you a question to see if you understand what I've just said. A troublesome question, a personal question, perhaps even an embarrassing question. Are we ready? How many people in this very room are still stupidly attempting to change the behavior of a wife, husband, or partner who has absolutely no interest in changing? Come on, get your hands up. Liars, get these hands up. Come on, come on. Tell the truth. Come on, look, get the hands up. Look at that guilty face. I see your face. Guilty, yes, look at her. Guilty, guilty. Now, nice lady, how many years have you been attempting to change this poor fellow? How many years? Yeah, how many years? Yes. How many years? 10 years. Look up here, smile, take a deep breath. Do your hand, do your hand this way, hand. Let it go or let him go. Okay, even more stupidly. How many people in this very room, even more stupidly, are still attempting to change the behavior of mommy or daddy who has no interest in changing? Come on. Oh, look at these guilty fellows. Are you trying to change mommy, daddy, or both? Mommy? How many years have you been trying to change poor mommy?
That's after my marriage.
Let it go. Let it go. Now, by the way, all of you kids that are trying to change mommy and daddy, if you have your own children, be careful. You're nagging your parents. Who's watching you? Your children are watching you. You're going to be an old person someday. What do you think that kid is going to be doing? You can sit down. I was teaching my class at Johnson & Johnson. A woman raised her hand. I said, are you trying to change mommy or daddy? She said, daddy. I asked her, what is daddy's problem? She said, daddy does not have a healthy lifestyle. I asked her, how old is daddy? She said, 94 years old. Leave the old boy alone. You want to smoke a cigar, old man? Smoke 5. Who cares? He's 94 years old. Now, if you don't learn anything else from me with this little lesson, you're going to be a better coach and have a lot happier life. Oh, I forgot something. India, special for India, especially for the women in India. Are you ready? Special coaching for the women in India. This is really true here. How many of you women here in India, even more stupidly, are still attempting to change the behavior of your mother-in-law? How's that working out for you? We have a whole row of mother-in-law changers over there. Let it go, let it go. Now, key point, the time we waste trying to change people that don't care is stolen from people that do care. As a coach, put your time and energy in with the ones that do care. They're the only ones that are going to get better anyway. And if they don't care, everyone look up here, put both feet on the ground. Both feet on the ground. Center yourself. Breathe. Smile. Smile, smile, smile. Breathe. And do your hand like the hand. Hand. Let it go. She's doing both hands. Let it go. Yeah, if you can change it, change it. If you can't change it, let it go. We're not going to change everything in life anyway. Life is short. Change what you can. Change what you can. And that stuff we're not going to change, it's okay. Just make peace. Just make peace. Now, learning from a great leader. Now, what's next? I'm now going to share a model that I use to help leaders get better. First, I'm going to talk about some advice from Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker was the greatest authority in the history of management. I got ranked #1 leadership thinker in the world. My brain compared to him, 10-year-old child. I was on his advisory board for 10 years. He taught me so many things, a very wise person. One of his great lessons, he said, is the leader of the past knew how to tell. The leader of the future is going to know how to ask. Well, today we all lead people called knowledge workers. What is the definition of a knowledge worker? They know more about what they are doing than I do. How many of you manage people that know more about what they are doing than you do? We all do. You can't tell them what to do and how to do it. You have to ask, you have to listen, and you have to learn. Ask. Now let's talk about this asking. And it doesn't just apply at work, it all applies at home. I'm going to ask you all a question. Do not reply until I go like this. If the answer is yes, I want you to say yes in a very loud voice. If the answer is no, or you do not know, remain silent. But don't say anything until I go like this. In your fine organization, is customer satisfaction important?
Yes.
More enthusiasm. Is customer satisfaction important?
Yes.
Should we ask our customers for their good ideas?
Yes.
Should we listen to our customers?
Yes.
Do you have a husband, wife, or partner at home? Have you spent a lot of time at home asking your partner, what can I do to be a better partner in our relationship? I notice a little drop-off in the level of enthusiasm. Look at this guilty woman back here. Now, wait a minute. Let's see what I've learned. For 10 years, you've been correcting your husband, yet you haven't asked your husband how you can do better. Is that correct? We should all be proud of this woman. Why should we be proud of her? Anybody can have standards. She has double standards. Well, in this room, we got a lot of people with double standards. Yeah, we're spending a lot of time correcting them. Not spending so much time asking them how we can get better. Now, let me ask you a question. Should we be asking that fine partner at home, how can I be a better partner? And when are we going to start? Now. It's time to have a little fun. Get out your smartphone. It's time to send a text message. You're going to send a text message to your wife, husband, or partner. And if you do not have a wife, husband, or partner, you're going to send that text message to a friend or family member. And you're going to ask one question with no explanation. What can I do to be a better partner in our relationship? What can I do? Get out those, come on, get out the smartphones. Let's go. Suck it up. Let's have some courage here. Get out those, you can do this. What can I do to be a better partner in our relationship? Send those messages. Now, while you're sending your messages, I've done this with thousands of people from around the world. I get some hilarious responses. Usually my favorite is from the wife. One husband sends the message to his wife. The wife replies, "This is your wife. Who is this intended for?" Another one of my favorites, "Have you been drinking?" "Who are you sleeping with?" So I get all kinds of funny reactions. On a serious note, twice out of the thousands of times I've done this, twice, somebody sent me an email later and said, "Thank you, you saved my marriage." Twice. Twice. Somebody sent a note, they were both men. Yeah, they were both men. They sent a note to their wife, "How can I be a better partner?" Ha ha ha. The wife sent a note back, "We need to talk." 2 marriages got saved. So on a serious note, it's good to do the stuff at work. It's better at home. At the end of the day, never forget the people you love are more important than the people you work. Do not worship the corporate God. The people you love are more important than the work. And don't get so busy climbing the ladder of success, you forget about that. Now, a good thing to do this is with our children. Ask your children, what can I do to be a better parent? When my daughter Kelly was 11 years old and my son Brian was 9 years old, I started asking my children, what can I do to be a better father? My daughter said, "Daddy, you travel a lot." That's not what bothers me. What bothers me is the way you act when you come home. You talk on the phone, you watch sports, you don't spend much time with me. One time it was Saturday, and I wanted to go to a party at my friend's house. Mommy did not let me go to this party. I had to stay home and spend time with you. Then you spend no time with me. She said, that was not right. What could I say? Thank you. I said, Daddy will do better. I started measuring how many days I could spend 4 hours with my family. 4 hours. 1991, 92 days. 1992, 110. 1993, 131. 1994, 135. I made more money the year I spent 135 days, 4 hours with my family, than the year I spent 20 days. Now it's January 1, 1995. I'm so proud. Both children are teenagers. I said, kids, look, 135 days, 4 hours with Daddy. What goal this year? How about 150? They both said, no, Daddy. Too much, Daddy, too much, no. My son said, 50 is a better number. They both voted for a massive cutback of Daddy. I learned a good lesson. When they are little, it's good to do this. Why? They need us. When they get older, it's important for a different reason. What is it? We need them. How many of you have adult children, grown-up children? How fast did those years pass? Just like that. Good to do these things at work, even better at home. I was teaching a class, and a woman said, teach people to ask this question to their parents. She said, I called my mother and asked my mother, how can I be a better daughter? My mother said, Daddy's dead. I live alone in the country, and every day I take a long walk up the road to go to the mailbox. And every day there's nothing in the mailbox. It makes me sad. It would mean so much to me as your mother if you just send me a little picture or card. I walk to the mailbox and find something in the mailbox. She started sending her mother little pictures and cards every day. What did that cost her? Nothing. What did that mean to her mother? Everything. 3 years later, she sent me an email and said, my mother just died. The last thing her mother told her, thank you for doing that. If your parents are alive, this is good for 3 reasons. Number one, it's good for them. Even if they say you have nothing to improve, they'll be proud you cared enough to ask. Number two, it's good for you. What's the number one regret children have when mom and dad die? Why didn't I thank them for all the good things they did for me? Why was I judging them all the time? And if you have kids, it's good for your kids. Why? If you have little kids, you know the old people you're calling up on the phone? Guess what, Mommy and Daddy? You're going to be the old people. You're going to be the old people. You want the kid to call you up on the phone? How's your child going to treat you? The way we treat our parents, that's a message to your child. That's the way you can treat me. So good to do at work, better to do at home. Now, if we look at the steps in my coaching process, step one is ask for input. Every one of my coaching clients gets confidential 360-degree feedback. And I asked them to practice something called feed forward. Feed forward is a very simple idea. You learn to ask for input, listen, shut up, and say thank you. Don't judge and critique. For example, I want to be a better listener. Give me ideas for the future. You don't ask for feedback about the past, you ask for ideas for the future. Then you listen and just thank people. You don't judge. Now, how does our coaching process work? Step one, every leader I meet asks for input. They all get confidential feedback from their direct reports, their coworkers. The average leader I coach gets feedback from 18 people, confidential feedback. They learn what they're doing well, what they need to improve. Second, I teach people, listen without judging to this feedback. Listen, don't judge. Think about the feedback, and then thank people. Don't put people down. Don't yell at people. Thank people for the feedback. And don't punish the messenger. Don't punish people that try to tell us the truth. Now, we're going to practice that yes thing again. You didn't do good on the last yes one, but we'll try again. Are we ready? You get another chance. Do you agree with me that it is important to encourage honest communication? And would you agree that punishing people who try to tell the truth, yelling at these people, it would be a very bad idea, a terrible idea? Am I in a room surrounded by hypocrites? You all told me yelling at people to try to help you is a bad idea. Punishing the messenger, very bad. I'm going to give you a test in your own life and see how you did. Are you ready? Here we are in Bengaluru. You've had a hard day at work. You go home. You get in the car. You're driving to the store. Lots of traffic cars are cutting in front of you. People are honking their horns. The person in the front seat goes, "Look out, there's a red light up ahead." Did you say, "Thank you"? Thank you. Or did you say, "What do you mean there's a red light ahead? Don't you think I can see? I know how to drive the car. Why don't you be quiet and let me drive?" How many of us have ever yelled at that other person before? What was the cost of them saying, "Hey, there's a red light ahead"? Nothing. What might that save? Your life, their life. The next time somebody corrects your driving, look up here. You're going to go just like this. Thank you. Ask, listen, think, thank. Then everyone I coach learns how to respond to feedback. What does that sound like? Mr. and Ms. Coworker, first, thank you for participating in this coaching process. Thank you for being interviewed by my friend Marshall here. And I've got nothing to lose and much to gain, and thank you for the time. Next, I got a lot of good feedback, and they talk about the positives, and they express gratitude, ethical, dedicated, hardworking. Then they pick something to do better. My advice to you, pick one thing. Don't pick some laundry list. You're not going to change 50 things anyway. Pick one thing. For example, I want to be a better leader. If I haven't listened to you or the other people in the past, I'm sorry. Please accept my apologies. No excuse. Then you say, I can't change the past. Don't ask for more feedback about the past. Give me ideas for the future. How can I be a better listener in the future? Whatever they say, sit there, shut up, listen, take notes, and say thank you. Don't judge and critique. Now, you can't promise to do everything people say. Leadership's not a popularity contest. You don't promise that. You say, I can't promise to do everything people suggest. I can promise to listen and thank you and do what I can. I can't change the past. All I can do is apologize for the past mistakes. Can't change the future. I can't change everything. I can surely get better at one thing. And if you don't mind, I'm going to involve you, focus on changing, and get better at that. Now, the key to making this work is called follow-up. What's it sound like? Every couple of months. Mr. Coworker, 2 months ago, I said I wanted to be a positive and open-minded listener. Feed forward. Based on the last 2 months, give me ideas for the next 2. It's been 4 months. Based on the last 2 months, give me ideas for the next 2. 6 months, based on the last 2 months. 8 months, 10 months. Now, what happens if you do what I taught you? I did a study about this called Leadership as a Contact Sport. If you'd like a copy of it, send me an email, marshall@marshallgoldsmith.com. 86,000 people in this research study. Every leader got multi-rater feedback. They were all picked up, focused on something to do better, talk to coworkers, just like I did with you, and then follow up, and we did a survey and measure, did they get better? What did we learn? When people said my coworker did no follow-up, -3 became less effective, 0 didn't change, +3 more effective. If you know about statistics, that looks a little better than a normal distribution curve. I've done something called a control group study. No feedback, no nothing. They did just as well. Total waste of time. Little follow-up, a little better. Some follow-up, much better. Frequent follow-up, much better. Consistent periodic follow-up, huge improvement. What did I learn? To quote my friend Al Mulally, if you get better, it does not have much to do with me. It's got everything to do with you. The stuff I just taught you in the last few minutes works. It doesn't kind of work or sort of work. It's a study of 86,000 people. It works everywhere in the world. It works great here in India. Shockingly, it doesn't work if you don't do it. And the challenge is not understanding it, doing it. It takes a lot of courage to do this. It takes humility to do this. It takes discipline to do this. Every leader I coach, including 5 CEOs of the year in the United States, they all step up and apologize for their mistakes. They don't pretend to be God. They all ask for help. And they role model what they want everybody else to do. I wrote an article about this, is to help others develop, start with yourself. You want people to develop as leaders, don't preach at them. Don't preach, let them watch you try to get better. They watch you try to get better, they'll try to get better. They listen to you preach, they just preach. Now, it's okay to need help. As I mentioned, what I'm going to finish by teaching you takes 5 minutes, costs absolutely nothing, and it's hard to do. We're ashamed to admit we need help. We all need help. I need help, you need help, the people I coach need help. People ask me, do I have a coach? I've had someone call me on the phone almost every day for 27 years to try to help me. Why? My name is Marshall. I'm too cowardly and undisciplined to do any of this stuff by myself. I need help, and it's okay. Who are we kidding here? Anybody here not need help? How many of the top 10 tennis players in the world have a coach? 10? Well, why do they have a coach? They're trying to get better. That's why we all need help. We're just trying to get better, and if we could have fixed it by ourselves, we'd been done with it. Now I'm going to promise, here's what I'm going to teach you. It's called daily questions. Get out a spreadsheet. On one column, write down a series of questions that represent what's most important in your life. Friends, family, coworkers, etc. Every question is answered with yes, a no, or a number. Yes is a 1, no or a 0, or a number. 7 boxes across, 1 for every day of the week. At the end of the week, you get a report card. I'm going to warn you in advance, that report card at the end of the week is not as pretty as that corporate values plaque you see stuck up on the wall. I've been doing this 27 years. You do this every day, you know what you learn? Very quickly, life is very easy to talk, and life is very difficult to live. You look at what you do every day, it's not as pretty as all those values on the wall. No, we're real human beings in the real world. We make mistakes every day, we say stupid things, we don't work out, we don't do what we should have done daily. Every day, look in the mirror. You want to get better? Look in the mirror. Now, I'll give you one of my questions. One of my questions every day is, how many times yesterday did you try to prove you were right when it wasn't worth it? No, I don't see too many zeros on my card. Kind of hard for that old professor not to be right all the time. Do I have anyone in this room that graduated from a school called IIT? Anybody graduated from that school? Come on. No one in the room. No, yeah, an honest, now they're, yeah. Okay, you hear the IIT joke. Are you ready? How do you know the IIT engineer is smart? Do you know how you know this? You hang around them 5 minutes and they tell you over and over and over again. It's very hard for smart people not to talk about how smart we are all the time. Now, my daughter Kelly is a professor at Vanderbilt. She has a PhD from Yale. She taught me something called active questions. She said, Daddy, teach people to ask questions that begin with one phrase, did I do my best to? Did I do my best to? See, when you ask that question, you can't blame somebody else. The question doesn't say, did you do it? Did you even try? It's hard. Here are 6 questions to ask yourself every day. If you do nothing every day but ask yourself these 6 questions, you're probably going to have a better life. Every day, question number 1, did I do my best to set clear goals? It doesn't even say that you succeeded. Did you even try to set clear goals? Number 2, did I do my best every day to make progress toward achieving my goals? Number 3, did I do my best every day to be happy? And let's stop about this one. Did I do my best every day to try to be happy? I ask people 1 to 10 scale. Everybody in your mind, answer that question. What score would you give yourself? Did I do my best on the average day to try to be happy? The average score in the world, 5.5 out of 10. Remember when you were in school? You got a test. You got a 5.5 out of 10. Would you be proud of that score? You'd be ashamed of that score. That test I just gave you is 1,000 times more important than the test you took in school. Raise the score. Every day tell yourself, I'm going to do my best today to be happy. Did I do my best today to find meaning? Rather than waiting for the world to give us meaning, did I try to create meaning in my own life, to build positive relationships? And finally, did I do my best to be fully engaged? Don't wait for the company to have some program to engage you. Did you engage yourself? Take your personal responsibility every day. Our research on this is pretty compelling. 95 studies with 4,885 participants. 34% of people said, I got better on everything by doing this. 67% said I got better on 4 items. 90% at least 1 item. 9% said no improvement. Less than 1% got worse. Why? Every day these questions get me to focus on the one thing I can control in life. Who's that? Me. Okay, we've got about 8.5 minutes left. I want you to come up with good questions for me. Talk to the person sitting next to you. You now have talk to the person sitting next to you. You now have 30 seconds to come up with a good question for me. Go! Talk to the person sitting next to you. Go, go, go. Come up with a good question. Talk. Talk to each other. And do we have a microphone? Okay, got a microphone? Okay, we have a good question right there.
Thank you for the wonderful
I can't
session,
hear
Marshall.
anything you're saying.
Thank you so much. And my question to you is, as you coach CEOs and great leaders around the world, what is that you see is that they fear when they're dealing with people? Because they're dealing with large organizations, great number of people. So what is the greatest fear
Well,
that you
that's
see?
changed. What do they fear? That's changed over time. Today, what do the people I coach fear? A lot. I'll tell you what they fear, social media. You can't say anything anymore. Anything these people say will be put on social media and they can be humiliated in 5 seconds with thousands of people. This is not a joke, this is real. Over the COVID period, I had the honor of spending 600 hours with 60 amazingly successful people. One guy said, 1.5 hours each, over and over, each group. One guy said, I love these meetings. I get to act like a human being for 90 minutes a week. I get to act like a human. There's an old saying, it's lonely at the top. It used to be lonely at the top. Today, it's much lonelier at the top. It's hard out there. And again, I don't feel sorry for these people that I coach. They're very blessed people. They have a lot of good things going for them. It's hard. What do they fear? What shouldn't they fear? They have every reason to fear. Why? You watch your friends get crucified a few times. It's not pretty. Let's hear it for a good question. Yes, very good.
Thank you so much.
Who's got another good question? Over here, another good question. Yeah. And I can't hear very well, so if you can hear in the front, you may translate for me.
Thanks for your time, Marshall. In your wisdom, is life all about the pursuit of performance or living of excellence? If it is living of excellence, is it not predicated on accepting the things as they are instead of doing these daily improvements? So is it performance or excellence? What makes for a more fulfilling life?
Okay, what do you say? You have to get up. I can't hear very well. What makes for a better life? Very, very good question. What makes for a better life? Okay. 3 ideas. One, assuming you have middle-class income, which you all do, assuming you have people who love you, and assuming you're in decent health, 3 things matter. One, you have to have a higher purpose. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? What am I doing it for? 2, you have to be achieving something meaningful that is connected to the higher purpose. You all work hard. You work all the time. Why? Why are you doing this? You have to have some achievement that is connected to this. And number 3, you need to enjoy the process of life. If you don't enjoy the process of life, you're going to grow old and die anyway. You just blew it. If you're doing something that has a higher purpose and you like doing it and you feel you're making a real achievement, you won. Now, let's mention IIT. I recently taught a class in IIT. A friend of mine's a big donor. I thought no one would want to show up anyway, some old man talking about Buddhism and stuff, right? The place was full. Somebody asked me that question, what matters in life? I started talking about meaning. What does it all matter? Why are you working so hard? What are you doing it for? 10 kids started crying. 10 kids just started crying. These kids never had a childhood. They were working their whole lives. How hard is it to get in that school? How many hours did they put in? And you know what they were told? If you ever get into IIT, you've got it made. They got in. What happened to the level of competition? It just went up. It just went up. Now, for some kids, it's great. They love doing it. It's fun. They like this stuff. They're happy to work 80 hours a week. If you're not one of those kids, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. That drive, that push, achieve. For what? Why am I doing this? Again, let's hear it for a good question. Yay! Okay, we have time for about 1 or 2 more. Yes, sir. Come up here so I can hear you.
What was the toughest thing in your life to let it go?
What is the toughest thing to let go? Ego. For me, very ego, very hard. Now, by the way, you're assuming I have successfully let it go. No. You see, there's a myth. When will I get there? There's no there. You think I got there? I'm not there. All those people I coach, you think they got there? Over COVID, every week I listen to 60 people talk about their lives. Look at their bios. You'd think these people were gods. They got kids with drug problems. They got parents with Alzheimer's disease. They get divorces. They act like fools every week. How many of them got there? 0. How many of them said, let me talk about my week. It was perfect. I didn't hear that. There is a myth. There's no there. Every day we wake up and start over. Every day we wake up and start over. There's no there. You're going to get to this place and everything's going to be fine and you're going to act like a great person and you've overcome all your problems and you've let go of all that stuff. It's not going to happen. Every day start over. I'll give you one tip though, it's going to help you with letting go. Are we ready? Forgive other people for being who they are. Forgive other people for being who they are and forgive yourself for expecting that they would be someone else. Forgive other people for being who they are and forgive yourself for expecting they would be someone else. That's a good start to letting go. Now finally, I'm going to finish with my best advice in the whole world. Are we ready? You're now going to get the best advice you're ever going to get. I want everybody to smile, breathe, hand. Hand. I want you to imagine you're 95 years old and you're just getting ready to die. It's all over. Here comes that last breath. Right before you take the last breath, you're given a beautiful gift. The ability to go back in time and talk to the person who's listening to me right now. The ability to help that person be a better leader and have a better life. What advice would that wise old person who knows what mattered and what did not matter and what was important and what wasn't, what advice would that wise old person have for the you who's listening to me right now? Whatever you're thinking now, do that. In terms of a performance appraisal, that is the only performance appraisal that will ever matter. That old person says you did the right thing. You did the right thing. You do not have to impress anyone else. Some friends of mine interviewed old folks who are dying, got to ask this question: what advice would you have? On the personal side, 3 themes. Theme number 1, be happy now. Be happy now, not next week, not next year, not when I get the money, the BMW, the status. Be happy now. Life is short. Don't get so busy chasing what you don't have, you can't see what you do have. Now, some of you might be thinking, easier for you to say, old man, you're rich. You got lots of money, you work with fancy people, you do whatever you want to. Yeah, lucky you. Let me guess, you're 35. I'm 75. Guess what you have that I don't have? 40 years. You want the best-selling books? Send me the 40 years. We got a deal. Don't get so busy chasing what you don't have, you can't see what you do have. And relative to me, most of you have something I don't have, youth. Number 2, friends and family. As I said, don't get so busy climbing that ladder of success you forget the people who love you. And number 3, if you have a dream, go for it. Just go for it. The world's changing, India's changing, just go for it. Business advice is my favorite. Number 1, life is short. Have fun. Enjoy the process. Number 2, do whatever you can do to help people. The main reason to help people has nothing to do with money or status or getting ahead. The main reason to help people is much deeper. The 95-year-old you is going to be proud of you because you did and disappointed if you don't. And finally, go for it. India's changing, the world's changing, your industry's changing. Do what you think is right. May not win, but you tried. Old people, we seldom regret the risks we take and fail. We regret the risks we fail to take. And finally, as I've grown older, I have one simple mission in life. And please go to my AI bot, MarshallGoldsmith.ai. Hopefully it'll help you. I got one mission in life, pretty simple. Help you have just a little better life. If anything I've said today will help any of you have just a little bit better life, today's a good day for me. Thank you.